Hi, I'm Miranda Cosgrove, and this is Mission Unstoppable. Coming up, Nabeel takes his best shot to discover the science behind physical therapy. Ready to do this?
Born ready.
Okay, let's go. And she saved us from leprosy. Now I'll save you from not knowing her name. You've probably never heard of her. So let me spill the STEM tea on Alice Augusta Ball. Then we're using lasers to learn about stars.
I'm just a girl in the physics world here to tell you the truth behind twinkling starlight.
And this scientist is mixing cellular biology with fashion.
My artworks aim to make complicated concepts more intuitive to understand.
Get ready to meet the scientists, inventors, and heroes who help make our world a better place. The future is here. The mission, unstoppable. Everyone knows I'm a sports nut. Touchdowns, home runs, whatever's going on with golf. I love it all, but I also love science. So we sent Nabeel to meet a woman bringing those worlds together.
Sometimes things work out. Other times, not so much. Ow. Athletes always want to do their best, but occasionally an illness or an injury will rob them of their chance to shine. Thankfully, advancements in sports medicine are making it so that athletes can get back onto the court or the field where they belong. We're going to find out more with the help of sports physical therapist, Dr. Leada Malek.
I played sports growing up, and I had my own fair share of injuries, and it wasn't until I was in college where I fell in love with exercise as a medicine. I'm the first female in my family to go into healthcare, and to be a doctor of physical therapy is something I'm really proud of.
Today, I'm visiting Dr. Malek's clinic in San Mateo, California, to see how she brings sports and science together, and also to see if she can help me with some knee pain I have when I play basketball.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So you are a sports physical therapist. What kinds of people do you work with?
So anyone who's especially active in, say, a runner or a soccer player or a football player or a tennis player or even a dancer, I've studied the way they move in their sport, and I get them back to the activity they love if they've been injured. Historically, physical therapy's revolved a lot around passive therapy, like laying on a table and getting something massaged. And now we really are focusing on movement-based therapy, a big active approach. It's pretty amazing that you can use exercise to make exercise more efficient, even if you got hurt while exercising.
That makes my brain hurt. I guess my brain needs exercise?
It's part of the whole program.
On the clinic court, Dr. Malek assesses how I perform at my sport of choice, basketball. While she learns a lot from observing my movements, she also gathers hard data with specialized tools.
So this is called a goniometer.
Sorry, a what?
Goniometer. It's basically a human protractor.
For this test, Dr. Malek measures the angle of my knee joint where I have pain. Dr. Malek doesn't just check my performance during individual exercises, but also how my whole body moves while actually playing basketball.
Well, your performance is good.
She's also finding out that I'm an extremely cool guy who is good at sports.
Woo!
Most of the time.
You're not getting these misses, right?
To help her patients recover, Dr. Malek has a fully stocked gym with advanced tech, like this special treadmill.
This is an anti-gravity treadmill.
Seems pretty firmly secured to the ground.
That's because the inside can make it feel like you're defying the laws of gravity.
For the treadmill to work, I need to put on these pants. Yes, I know, they look fabulous, but once they're zipped up, they create an airtight seal in the chamber below. Extra air pressure in the chamber holds up the patient, making them feel lighter. At 70% of my body weight, walking is a piece of cake.
This will help train the nervous system to fire up the muscles as they were prior to injury.
Repetitive motions like running help athletes recover, and the treadmill is just one part of Dr. Malek's course of treatment.
We also look at your pain, your range of motion, your swelling, how you look like on regular ground with full gravity. And if something like that is impacted for the worse, then we know this might have been a little bit too much.
Well, thank you for letting me take it for a spin, and thank you for teaching me all about physical therapy today. It truly is a beautiful intersection between sports and science. You know what? I think I'm gonna actually keep these.
No, I need those.
I think they suit me. You know what? I'll send them to you in the mail. Thank you so much, Dr. Malek. It's been a pleasure. You're the best.
history, millions of people were afflicted by a frightening disease with no cure. In the early 20th century, a 23-year-old black woman developed the first effective treatment, but you've probably never heard of her. So let me spill the STEM tea on Alice Augusta Ball. Who was Alice Ball? She was an American chemist who didn't just break medical barriers, but social ones as well. She was born in 1892 in Seattle, Washington, raised by a family of professional photographers. She first discovered the wonders of chemistry in her grandfather's darkroom. After getting her bachelor's degrees in pharmaceutical chemistry and the science of pharmacy at the University of Washington, Alice moved to Hawaii to pursue her master's in chemistry. In 1915, she was the first woman and the first African American to graduate from the University of Hawaii. But she didn't stop there. She was only 23 when she became the college's first black professor and their first female chemistry professor. But her true claim to fame is using chemistry to battle one of humanity's most feared diseases, leprosy. Records of leprosy, now known as Hansen's disease, go back thousands of years. 95% of people are naturally immune, but people who did contract the disease could get disfiguring skin lesions and nerve issues. These people were often arrested and sent to remote colonies, permanently quarantined from society while suffering from this serious disease. During Alice's time, there was just one treatment, chamugra oil. This oil was extracted from a tree that grows in India and Sri Lanka. People tried to take it in all different ways, but each method had its downsides. Rubbing the oil on the skin had limited results. Injecting it led to rows of painful boils. And those who consumed the oil got so nauseous, they often couldn't even keep it down. Alice, who had previously worked with other medicinal plants, like the kava root, got involved in the research to help make chamugra oil a more efficient treatment. During the day, she taught chemistry classes, and at night, she was working away at a cure in the lab. After a year of experiments, Alice cracked it. She developed a process where she froze the chamugra oil's fatty acids, isolating their ethyl ester compounds. These compounds still had the medicinal properties of the chamugra oil, but were water-soluble, so they could be injected and absorbed safely by the human bloodstream. Her process became the main treatment for thousands of leprosy patients across the globe. However, she didn't get to see how her formulation changed the world. Before she could publish her results, Alice fell ill. Alice traveled back home to her family in Seattle, where she passed away. She was only 24 when she died. After Alice's death, her graduate advisor, Arthur Dean, continued her experiments and published papers about their amazing results without even mentioning Alice at all. This guy even named the process after himself, calling it the Dean method. I call that process the stealing method. Dr. Harry Hallman, who also worked with Alice, tried to publish the truth about what he called the Ball method. But Alice's contributions were largely ignored until 1977, when poet Dr. Catherine Waddell Takara and retired federal worker Stanley Ali found Alice's records in University of Hawaii's archives. These two were instrumental in spreading the true story of her discovery. In her short time on Earth, she made the world a better place through science. And I hope that she inspires other young women as they seek to do the same. Let the story of Alice Augusta Ball be a lesson to all thieves out there. History finds the truth. Normally, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, How I Wonder What You Are, is more of a rhetorical question. But we're gonna do some science about it. Check it out.
If there's one thing we learn from a very early age about the stars in the sky, is that they twinkle. Stars are just balls of plasma floating in space, just like our friend the sun. But when we look at the sun in the sky, it doesn't twinkle. So does that mean twinkle, twinkle, little star lied to us? Hi, I'm Miriam. I'm just a girl in the physics world here to tell you the truth behind twinkling starlight. This lab is big, but not big enough to demonstrate the distance between Earth and a distant star. So this distance is about 2 feet, but just imagine that this is 5.8 trillion miles. So in this demo, this laser is going to be our starlight, and we are going to be the target. So this is how we're viewing the star on Earth, and the hot plate mimics our atmosphere. But before we put on the laser, safety comes first. Lasers are not toys. They can be a hazard. Make sure not to point it at anybody's eyes. So this laser pointer is a really good representation of a star because it is a point source of light. If we take a look, the beam is not moving anywhere. It's completely steady. So right now we are mimicking passing the light through a vacuum of space, so no atmosphere between the star and how we view it on Earth. Obviously that's not realistic. Let's add some atmosphere. So we're going to turn it on. What we're doing is creating a temperature difference. Because Earth's atmosphere is not the same density or temperature as space is. And if you look really closely, it's almost as if somebody is like banging on the table. I'm not touching the table at all, so this is all on its own, and purely because there's a hot atmosphere between the light and how we receive it on Earth. Now that we've made our twinkling star, let's be safe and turn the laser off, and that means I can take my laser goggles off, and let's talk about why the stars twinkle. So the air near our hot plate is getting heated up. The hot gas then begins to rise because it's less dense into the colder air, and we get this convection of fluid. This temperature gradient and change in density causes light to change direction and speed. This is known as refraction. We get these same convection currents through our atmosphere. Starlight from stars really distant in our universe that are traveling towards us on Earth are being refracted in our atmosphere, causing the light to bend, and that's how we see stars twinkle from Earth. This twinkling effect is known as scintillation, and it can cause blurriness or distortions in images when we look at stars through telescopes on Earth. And so to avoid that, we send telescopes out into space, like Hubble and James Webb, and you're removing this effect so that you have a stable image. So I'm sorry to say this, but twinkle, twinkle, little star isn't really true. Stars don't really twinkle. It's our atmosphere that makes them appear to twinkle when we look at them on Earth. It's too bad that refracting light in the atmosphere doesn't make a cute little nursery rhyme.
What's your favorite fabric pattern? Paisley? Maybe a nice houndstooth? You might have a different answer after seeing this next segment. It may seem like the world of art and the world of science are completely separate disciplines. But from Da Vinci's notebooks to renderings of black holes deep in space, scientists have long shared the wonders of their work through art. Just ask Dr. Beata Mierzwa. As a researcher at the Ludwig Institute for Cancer Research, she studies how cells divide and how to create more effective cancer treatments.
Ever since I saw my first microscopy image, I was really fascinated by the beauty. I couldn't understand why people rarely share these pictures outside of the lab, and I wanted to find a way to share the beauty of science with the world and have people appreciate it.
And that's exactly what Beata does. Her work not only advances medical science, but it also inspires her creatively in both art and fashion.
I had the idea to take these colorful pictures and print them on fabric and then make clothes out of it. And I love that I do that because I get to share the beauty of science everywhere I go, spark fascination and curiosity for science. My artworks aim to make complicated concepts more intuitive to understand.
Cell division isn't just at the heart of Beata's creative work, it's also essential for life itself.
Cell division happens in our bodies all of the time. For example, when we grow or when old cells need to be replaced, for example, in our skin or in our blood, it's happening all of the time. And it's really fascinating to know that what I'm studying is actually also happening inside of me as I'm doing it.
Cell division is a complicated process with a lot of steps. A cell first makes a copy of its DNA. Then it moves on to the first step of division, called prophase. Here, the membrane of the nucleus, which holds the DNA, breaks down. In metaphase, the DNA chromosomes are held in the center of the cell by a structure called the mitotic spindle. In anaphase, this spindle starts pulling apart the chromosomes towards the opposite poles of the cell. In telophase, the nuclear envelope is cordoned off into what will be the two new daughter cells. Finally, in cytokinesis, the cells separate from each other. Although this process can be observed through microscopes, scientists like Beata have developed some creative techniques to better see and understand its complexities.
We can actually make the structures inside of the cells visible and colorful. So for this, I add colorful dyes or genes into the cells, and they make these structures inside the cells glow. And it's the same thing that makes the jellyfish glow. It's called fluorescence. And we don't add these colors just to make the cells look pretty, but actually we need to see the structures to understand how cells divide.
To capture pictures of the colorful process that inspires her, Leada uses this powerful microscope station.
Oh, I think I just found a perfect cell. This is black and white because it's a live picture, so you can only see one color at a time. But then we can take a bunch of pictures and put them all together into a beautiful, colorful picture.
To capture every part of the cell, the microscope takes pictures of different slices, from the bottom to the top. It captures red, blue, and green colors separately, and the images are stitched together into vibrant final images.
Isn't that beautiful? I see this every day, but I still find it extremely fascinating.
Once Leada is done capturing her images, it's time for the next step.
When I started studying science, I had no idea that I could combine science and art, and I really wish I would have known this sooner. And now it's my mission to encourage the future generation to embrace their passions and realize that no dream is too big to pursue. And that's how I turned science into fashion.
In my dressing room between takes, I like to check in with our experts. So I asked Leada what she's been up to since we last filmed. Check it out.
Hi, Miranda. Since filming our last episode, I've expanded from my research and creating the science, art, and fashion into making video games. I created a game which allows players to explore the beautiful world inside our own cells. I wanted to help middle and high school students get a glimpse into this awe-inspiring universe that I get to see every time I look through a microscope. Because I know that it is so much more fascinating and so much more beautiful than how it can be shown in textbooks. Thanks so much for having me on the show, and never forget that the world inside each of us is amazing, and there's still so much more to discover. Bye!
Welcome back. Before we go, we have one last thing.
Don't get discouraged if you feel like you're the shortest one in the room. I myself am not a very tall physical therapist, so if you feel like you can't do something because of your size, you shouldn't, because it's possible.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's okay to say, I don't know. There are people out there that are willing to help you. Believe in yourself. And I know that's hard to do, but you are your own warrior and you can get through those challenges. And it might not be a straight path, but you'll be able to get there in the end.
My advice is treat your passions like a big experiment that can create amazing adventures and opportunities.
That's it for this week's Mission Unstoppable. We wanted to do the entire show about dogs, but we're still waiting on that rough cut. Bye. If you're watching this, you must have really liked the video. Make sure you follow and subscribe, and check out these other videos that are even better. No, really. I've seen this one over 100 times.